Next, we'll start adding UI to the game. A UI stands for user interface, and basically this is when you play a game and there's things that show up on the screen, like showing the amount of coins you have collected. And for now we don't have anything, so we'll start with that. Go back to the content folder, and over here we'll create a new folder, and we'll call it UI. And then open that up, and in here we'll create a new widget. And basically you'll right click and go to user interface, and then select widget blueprint. And then we select user widgets. And call this WBP underscore HUD, which stands for heads up display. Open that up, and let's dock that. Save, compile. And to give you a quick overview of how widgets are made, and by the way, UI elements are called widgets, and that's why we call it WBP. And so I'll be calling it widgets from now on. And basically, widgets has two parts, where there's a designer part, which is where we are in right now, where we design the UI and we set all the elements of the UI in. And then it has a graph part. And here, this looks familiar to you, where it's an event graph, and then there's functions and everything here. And you can basically make things just like in blueprints that we did so far. For now, we'll go back to the designer part. And over here, we have many different elements that can be added to the widget. All of these here. But you don't have to worry about them all right now. You'll learn them all one by one over time. And what we'll need for now is a canvas. And we can add that by dragging that and putting it down here, where the hierarchy is. And with this, you can see the screen now, and where we'll put everything into it. And just for testing, let's put a text here. And drag and drop that into here too. And yeah, here it's right there with a default text saying text block. You can save and compile. And now when we press play, nothing is really showing on the screen yet. And the reason for that is that we need to actually put this widget into the screen. And we do that through blueprints. So we go back to the player blueprint, and over here we go to event graph, and we'll go here on the top, and we'll right click and call begin play. And we've talked previously about this event where it plays at the beginning of the game. So in here, we will create a widget. And over here, we'll select which widget that is. And we'll select the WBP HUD that we created earlier. And for now, nothing will happen yet. And what we'll have to do is after we create the widget, we have to add it to the viewport. So we'll get the return value, and then we'll call add to viewport. And then press save and compile. And now when you press play, as you can see, we have the HUD showing, where we have the text block over here that we made earlier. So let's start by adding the collected coin text to show us how many coins we've collected so far. So just for testing, let's change the text to 99. Which is the maximum number we would be having. And let's increase the size of the text. So we can actually go here and change the font. These settings are a bit familiar, I think, to anyone who's used any kind of program like Photoshop or Word Office or Google Docs. And we'll change the size to 64. And we'll set the outline down here, outline settings, and we set that to 6. And now it has a nice black outline around it. And let's adjust this square here so it covers the text. And then we can actually just start to move it around. So we can just do this and put it like that. And press save, compile. And then when we press play, now we see the 99 up there. But for now, nothing will happen when we collect coins. So what we'll have to do is next is go to the graph section. And in here, we have these pre-construct and construct event. You don't have to worry about the pre-construct for now, because this is actually used before the game even starts. But what we want is the event construct, which is basically like begin play, but for UI. So from here, we will get the player pawn, and then cast to BP underscore player. Connect that over here. And then we'll get the player reference and we'll promote it to a variable and then hit save and compile. And now back in the designer, we can actually do something really cool. A very quick way to have the text update is over here in the text area. There's this button right here where it's like a chain, and you can actually chain it or bind it to something. And so because we have the player now as a variable, we can actually select that, and then it will show us all of these different variables that are from the player. And over here we can see the coins collected that we created. If we select that now and then press save and compile, now when we press play, you can see that it's 0. And now it will update when we collect the coins. Yeah. And that's much nicer now. But for now, it's kind of looking weird that it's just a number. So let's add a coin icon over here. Let's go back to the UI folder. And let's create a folder called textures. Open that up and then click again the import button and go back to the assets and then select the UI folder. And over here, there's the coin texture. Select that and it will automatically get imported. Press save all. And now go back to the HUD widget. And over here, we'll look for image and we'll drag and drop that into here and open up the brush settings. And over here in the images, we'll select the coin and select this right here. And now we have the coin right here, but the size is not correct. So let's adjust that. Right now, the x-axis is correct to be 100. And then we'll set the y-axis to also 100. And we'll position that nicely here and reposition the text a bit too. Save, compile. And now when we press play, it's very clear what this number in the top left corner means. And when we collect coins, we have this nice looking UI. One final thing, we're still having the text printed for the coins when we collect them. So go back to the player blueprint and in here, go to the collect coin function and delete this print string and save and compile. And now we have a nice UI for coin collection and it's working just the way we want it to. And that's it for this lesson.